Are you ready to? Welcome to the St. Lawrence County Property Development Corporation meeting. Call order, roll call, please.
Mr. Staples,
I'm still here.
Mr. LaBeouf, Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. McMahon,
Here.
Mr. Morrow,
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Notice was given August 5th, 2022. Public comment?
Just gonna put it in the wall.
Don't give them ideas.
We used to have to do that.
All right, minutes of July 6th, 2022.
So moved.
They're brought to the floor and seconded. Any discussion concerning them? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Patrick, do you want to have a staff report?
No, but I'm gonna segue right into old business, if that's okay.
All right.
We have a number of potential expenditures we'd like to discuss for the 100 Patterson Street facility. We've talked to you, I think, at length about some of the work that we're trying to get done as we're preparing, hopefully, for occupancy for that building, the former Newell building.
Okay.
We didn't sneak another building in under your, but there are, Rich, 3 different potential projects that we'd like to recommend moving forward with right now.
Is that all there was, there's 3?
Yeah, I have, well, I'll give you a quick summary of what we'd like to do, and Rich, you can add. One of them is there is a remaining air compressor that is in the 1992 space of the building that is not connected to anything. It is on as you go into the building, it's in the high spot. There's a platform there. We have talked with Doyle Contractor, who is our phase 2 contractor, about a change order that would be having them remove that compressor. We would net out any value there is in it from a steel recycling scrap value, which we're not optimistic that that's real high, but
$3.95.
more, what's that?
$3.95, I think you're gonna get out of it.
If there's any net value, we want it'll lower the cost, but, and then at that area where that platform is, we want to reconnect the ladder that was there that was removed and then use that as an access space to the roof. Right now, you get to the roof
Sure.
by going out an external, picking the lowest roof to the ground and climbing up. We want to have access with the complexity of that building and the roof and the drain system. We think there's going to be a fair amount of hands-on maintenance we're going to be doing, keeping the drains clear and for safety purposes, having an internal way to get up there where you're right on one of the flat roofs is better than trying to climb up the little shed roof so that work would be disconnecting the vent, connecting the removing the main compressor, taking it off the platform, putting in the door, and then there's also a couple of.
So along with that, there's 2 vents that are specific to the compressor that'll be removed, reframed and covered. And there's 2 other ventilation fans where the timber from when they were installed is rotting away and pulling away from the building. Those will get removed and replaced with siding. So we can stop more of the leakage.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Oh, that's perfect. So that is one. I'll go through the 3 and then it's like a buffet. You guys can decide what you want to do.
The price tag, Steve?
That one is $14,995.
Does John think it's a good idea?
Yes.
Good enough
Yes.
Good enough for me.
Getting the compressor out of there and having the better roof access. I mean, that's, and the price is very good, we think.
Good.
The domed roof wall section.
So this is the wall section between the 1946 space and the 1912 space. Drains into our new office. So over the decades, there's been a lot of pitch buildup from people trying to stop leaks from where the parapet meets the wall. And it works sometimes, except for sometimes the wind blows or rain comes down really hard.
Is that the leak you were talking about last month?
We couldn't find, or was
That was different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone had a fair idea where it was coming from. You could stick your hand in the gaping hole there. So what we want to do is have that all cleared out. Either the siding removed and reflashed properly. Or we're also looking at an alternative to do like a rubber roofing membrane over it, which would be like a re-roof, so it'd have to get insulated, rubber put up onto it. So we haven't gotten a price on that yet. I anticipate that would be a little bit more expensive. But have a price.
A little more expensive than what? 14 or?
What was this one, Patrick?
This one is 7248.
Okay, so we got 14 and 72. What's the third one?
The third one is Quonset hut roof, those Quonset huts, which is the little lower roof that you climb up now, where that meets the main building. We did not need to repair the Quonset huts because there's no leaks in there, but there is a leak where the hut meets the new building. And that's $3,090 to do flashing and seal up that, call it a joint where the huts meet the building.
Yeah, where you would typically have flashing where it goes from the roof to the wall. All they had was essentially tar paper from over the years, kept layering it up.
You all know if you don't properly fix leaks, they ain't never gonna go away. So you're talking 14, 7, and 3 for around 25?
Yeah, but we got one more. I said 3, by which I meant 4.
70, was it 77?
7,200.
2,200.
25.
Yeah, okay.
72.
Yeah, I was-
Yeah, that.
got me scared too.
Well, I should have.
So what's
said
the fourth
300
one?
and backed into a much lower number, but the
Yeah.
last one, and this is probably the most important, and our challenge with this one is where the 1992 section and
Called the bomb.
we call it the bomb shelter, that's probably not the right name, but where those sections meet, there is my description will be horrible. You go ahead.
So this is another situation where we have a parapet wall, a parapet cap that meets a wall for the other section. And the flashing behind it comes up under the siding about 1.5 to 2 inches. Instead of being properly flashed for some of the driving rains. So what we're having, one of the issues we're having is as the rain hits it, it's coming up, and it's a little waterfall in the 1992 section. But now it's also weeping through into the bomb shelter section. So
So we haven't gotten into the 1800s yet, right?
not yet.
Okay,
How much is this work?
This one is the 7,235.
So now we're at
That's pretty
30,
close, yeah.
Right.
so what's it all add up to?
32?
32 or 33.
And Doyle is,
33-ish.
we're doing all this?
We're looking at Doyle to do this. We're also looking at Doyle to get prices for a couple of these things to maybe change out to rubber membrane. That's not something that Doyle does.
And my suggestion for Doyle would be go back to and say sharpen your pencil.
I'm in favor of getting it fixed.
Not that I don't want to do it, but, you know, we've given him a lot of work, and if he's gonna do it, he needs to be reasonable.
I'm supportive of it. I don't mean to be snotty, but couldn't we have seen this coming before?
That's a great question. One that we have
It's
talked
still
about,
at this point,
we've
but-
talked about with our various building teams. The issue is the way that roof is set up. There are all of these, there's the 1912 section, the 1946 section, the domed section, the 1992 section. And we put new roofing on all of the sections except the dome and the Quonset huts. The challenge is there are these parapet walls that separate some of these sections where the work that needs to be done to fix the leaks is not on the roof itself, but on these parapet walls or on the joints between the two.
Was anything installed in a manner that was inadequate?
No, the problem is to do it over again, we may have re-described what we wanted done and included the parapet walls. Instead, and one of the 1992 roof was a change order. So what happened was the pricing that came in on that was very good. So we said, yes, we want to redo that roof. We didn't include in the bid documents for that project, the parapet wall, which is where we believe we're having leak issues.
Those bid documents were done by us with the help of someone else.
Correct, well, yes, but I mean,
But be mindful of the fact that when we started with this project, we didn't have roof in most of the sections of that building. So I mean, it was raining in there for 4 years, 5 years. A lot of these things, yeah, we probably should have foreseen them. Some of them we did foresee and we thought, well, if we can get money next year, we would do that, the dome roof and take care of this wall. But I think we're in a situation now where the rot has continued and it's leaking worse than it was at that time. We're talking a building that's 120 years old. And so there's gonna be some chasing for sure.
So big picture, when we started with the building to where we are today. What we estimated the cost to repair the building to where we are, does that stand?
I think right now we're still somewhere around $700,000 under what we anticipated being ready for tenants.
so we are,
From the original plan.
Yeah, and there's still tenant build outs that have to be done. I mean, it's not all sugar and apple pie.
we're anticipating as we get much closer to having a tenant, we see probably another $500,000 of investment in building, in build outs and electricals, and that we're still on target.
Okay, that's,
And
because this amount is a non-factor for me as long as we're.
No, the trouble with these amounts is, it's the nickel and diming. It's, every time we come across another problem, we're coming and pestering you guys, let us fix it.
Do we think this fixes our leaks?
No, this slows down most of the leases. This is everything.
Rich does not write our marketing brochures. Let me make that clear. We have done the drains. We have, there are, the frustration with a 72,000 square foot building that is old and has multiple additions been put on it over the years is until, remember, we've owned it now for,
Almost 3 years or coming up?
no, we took it over. I want to say it's over a year now, but
Since
we're,
city.
since that, and that first phase wasn't, we worked with the
Beginning of
city.
21.
What's that?
Was the beginning of
Yeah,
20.
so our ongoing familiarity with the building, the good news is we're figuring out little issues that we need to deal with. Bad news is none of these issues come without a cost.
Is it correct to say that if we don't do the stuff that pertains in particular to the office area, that we're going to do damage to work we've already done?
Yes.
Yes.
And is that,
For the one on the dome roof, that has a direct effect on one of the corners of the office space. Right?
probably the only one that won't, and like, I would agree, we probably should do it, is the Quonset hut one. It's, you're not doing much more damage to it, it's already done.
And those do total 32,568.
Yeah, the issue with the Quonset hut is, and again, what we've tried to do is there are things we know we have to do, but we've looked at a follow-on phase where we're going to address, what we had wanted to do was address the Washington Street wall, which is where the Quonset huts are, which is where the 1946 space is, as one project. However, 2 or 3 of these things are we can't wait. And a couple other things we didn't want to address until we're doing tenant finishings, because you don't want to do something and then change it. I agree. I mean, when we talk with it, we have pretty specific discussions about trying to keep the costs low on the bids that they're giving us. But I do think we can go back and say,
Well, I think to build on what Lynn said, if we've asked for 4 individual bids and say, hey, we award all these, what can you do for us? We ought to be able to, couple $7,000.
And I may be able to help with that too.
and the other challenge is we're waiting for pricing on the EPDM solution, which is basically you got a parapet wall, and this is simplification, but you cover it with a rubber membrane as opposed to worrying about the flashing.
Make a travel-
Can I ask the
make a travel
question?
trailer out of it.
What?
Call the question.
A travel trailer. EPDM.
Ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What is a parapet wall?
Thank you.
Oh, don't. We'll get hold of Brooke Washburn. You can come tell us.
Bring his fancy little paper and everything.
It's that fake little rim around the top of the building that hides the roof.
You know, when you look at a castle and you see the little saw, the little teeth looking things on the roof, that's a
Like a
parapet.
facade?
It's the fake little roof, the fake little wall around the top of the building that hides the roof.
The
Okay.
decoration.
Roof is here, but the wall's going up. Keep going.
If we quit pitching, can we call the question?
Yes. we can.
Call the question.
Thank you, Union.
Well, I don't think we have a motion to call. I mean, the question is,
Discussion.
I'll make the motion, directing you to move forward with the project.
Okay,
I
right,
will second.
McMahon.
That's my building
Not to
complete.
exceed $30,000.
why don't you, I would put what's a figure? I wouldn't say 30. If
50.
We're gonna meet again in a week if we need to be drastic, but I would say 40.
50.
If the rubber membrane thing comes
How
back
much
at.
under do you have? Do you ever give them the full amount? Bingo.
50.
I make the motion.
Well, you got,
Ryan's pushing for 50. I don't know.
I want to give them some leeway so they're not back every 5 minutes and we know what they're doing already and they're going to
Are
do
you
it.
okay with the resolution?
Yes.
I have what I need if you decide on a dollar amount.
I'm okay with 40.
I made the motion.
40 is okay with you, Mr. Hagan, for your.
Okay.
Does anybody want to second that?
I
I'll
have first and
second
second.
Brian, 40 gets us what we need to move forward. And then if there is a change, we'll.
I have Mr. Reagan, Mr. McMahon at 40.
Okay.
I just need the
Mr.
vote.
Staples
Everybody
too.
understand the resolution that we are authorizing staff to spend up to $40,000 to repair
The parapet,
leaks, 4 leaks in the
parapet.
former dual building in Ogdenburg, New York. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
No, opposed.
Resolution
Okay,
carried.
written down.
See a copy in a minute of the next.
I'm in
Did you
tears.
come up with a new name for the old mill?
I
Yeah,
was not authorized by the board to do that.
You weren't authorized to pick one, but you were authorized to pick one.
Patterson Street it has a very
I didn't know what you're.
metro sound to
Supposed
it.
to be what we say.
let's see if we can adjourn.
We do need an executive session.
We do need executive session before we, okay, we're gonna have to ask you.
Are you gonna be taking any action that to come out of it, or do we need to?
I apologize. 'cause
We need to do a double recording.
There's no way to just.
No, I don't think we are we?
Yeah,
Thank you.
that'd be
Thank
wonderful.
you very much.
We're gonna
You
be,
can announce you're gonna go into executive session, come back from executive session.
And adjourn.
No action. Then we don't have to do 2 recordings.
we don't need to take action, right? If we're meeting next week,
Yeah, let Jim back in.
that's what we'll do.
We're in executive session.
We're not yet in executive, we are not gonna, go ahead, Rich, what was your recommendation?
So we're going into executive session. Immediately after we come out of executive session, we'll adjourn the meeting.
Yeah.
So no action will be taken. So this will be the end of the recording for this meeting.
Okay. As you said.
Okay.
It shall be done.